So today we're going to be talking about looking beyond Industry 4.0 and into a concept we're calling the digital factory. Obviously, I was given a very good intro, but just to recap, I've been working for 11 years in the industry. I've been in, probably over 100 different window and door plants over the years. As mentioned, I'm working on an initiative called FNML, which I'll touch on briefly. But before that, I was taking our software and implementing it. So I know what you guys are doing, the glass fabricators that are in the room, and looking at ways that we can improve things for you. So, what is the digital factory? Well, for us, it's an interconnected workshop where all the machines, all management, supervisors, your vendors, everyone is all interconnected, and all the data flows very easily between all of these people and systems. In some of the instances, the data that's flowing can create automatic decision making. So not only do you have to, not only you have access to the data and can look at it and make these decisions, but the systems that are interfacing with it can make the decision for you, which is less labor and less work for you guys overall. The timer. Thanks. So looking at the progress we've made towards Digital Factory, well, we have coming up with common open data standards like FNML and others that in the room are working on to send and receive data between machines. Pretty much any machine you buy today is networked. So most of these machines can receive production information. I know from my experience, we have a bunch of interfaces that you go in and configure and generate files or other communication protocols to control the machine. Some of the machines themselves, they have local dashboarding or local statistics that you can go on the machine and pull up and see, what's going on, how is it running, how many units have we run, so on and so forth. And some manufacturers, like Glaston and others, have created apps that you can see information about the machine while not being at the machine, being in the office or being remote. A lot of people ask, well, how's this different from Industry 4.0? Well, as we talk, as I've talked to different machinery guys and different customers of what we're looking to do, they all tell me like, hey, well, that's not really Industry 4.0. That's a bit beyond. So we created this term called the digital factory to kind of encompass not only the concepts of Industry 4.0, but also IoT and supply chain management and all these other areas to bring them all together. We talk about Industry 4.0 and data acquisition, and the question becomes, you can create these systems, but what do you do with all that data? A recent survey found that over 70% of IoT initiatives fail. And one of the big players and one of the big reasons for that is because everyone's focused on getting that data, but then they don't look to do with what they're going to do with it after it. They start to get it all in and they're like, okay, well, how are you going to process it? How are you going to store it? How are you going to take that data from the machine over here and combine it with data from your ERP system or the machine downstream, these different areas? Looking to do these projects, do you have the staff on hand? Do you guys have the employees? I personally have gone into facilities where we're lucky if there's an IT person on staff. A lot of companies we go into, they're outsourcing all their technology. And because of that, you might not have the staff that can do the PLC programming or the dashboarding on different software packages in-house because they just don't have the expertise or the time to do it. This is where data processing solutions come in. There's different systems that are out there that are designed to take the data from these different systems and then combine them together to give you guys useful information and useful dashboarding and so on. Key with this is the support for open standards. So the systems have to be able to support standards that exist today, as well as be adaptable for standards that are coming out in the future. The key concept with this is it reduces labor and effort to get this information. So, as mentioned earlier, there's different machinery guys that are creating these dashboarding apps and these different things. Well, it's great, but unfortunately you have to go to the app over here to see what's going on with your tempering oven, and this app over here to see what's going on with your IG line, and another app to see what's going on with your CNC machine. And you're writing all this stuff down, or you're putting it into an Excel, and you're trying to combine all this information together to get a whole overview of, of your floor. Well, different data processing solutions, whether it be software or other areas, can reduce the amount of effort to do that. And some of these solutions are designed to be, serverless and as plug and play as possible. So some examples, you could take, if you have facilities in multiple locations, you could take them and overlay the status of each facility on a world map. See things like, how's each area doing, and drive this based on, is a machine down, are things not running efficiently, is there a different issue, and change the status based on that. You could drill into a factory and see the whole floor. What's going on with each machine or each work center. Does a machine have an error or an issue? Is it waiting on product? Perhaps it's just not running as efficiently as you want. Maybe the workers are being slower today, and getting a flag of that status. And drilling it down even further, you could see things like overall machine status and utilization. What's the current status of the machine? What's the run rates? What's the overall effectiveness of the equipment? How much product are we producing through it? What are the most common rejects? So on and so forth. So these are all things that we can take data from the machines as well as data from your ERP systems and your workers and other areas and combine it together. Again, combining this data gives you a more holistic view of everything, and everyone can see all this information in one location. So you don't have to, people don't have to run around and find the different person who has access to stuff. They can all view this information in one location. We look going forward, you can take your actual data from your machines, and Horst alluded to this in his previous presentation. You can take data from the machines and use it for future production planning. You can look at things and say, hey, theoretically we can get this out of the machine, and we think we can do this, but maybe there's certain conditions that are coming up that actually change what the production rate is. And then based on that, we can get that direct feedback into your ERP system to say, what, we can't schedule quite that much work because it's too hot, or the glass is too big, or whatever the reasons are. So it reduces capacity or increases it, if conditions allow. We can do a little bit better planning for maintenance. So we can see things like, what are the most common alerts? What's constantly breaking on the machine? What are we doing in terms of actual usage? We're talking about grinding wheels as an example. How many linear meters has the grinding wheel gone across the glass? We could take that data and then communicate that over to the CMMS system, so your computerized maintenance management system. And you can trigger maintenance actions based on that. So, hey, I know that I can get so many linear meters out of a grinding wheel, so when I get to within 80 or 90% of that, I want to flag a warning so I know that, hey, there's going to need to be a grinding wheel change out, and I'm going to plan for that machine to be down. We can look at things like previous history, different alarms that have come up. Example I had here, the manufacturer was able to provide me a list of causes and resolutions. So again, the concept of combining data all into one location, now your workers don't have to go and run around for a manual, or calling the manufacturer to find out what's going on. They can look at the error that occurred and see, what has to be done to fix it. Of course, with having all this information, the items that you guys have been seeing has been focused on seeing the data about one machine. But with a system that combines everything, we can look at multiple machines in one area. And that's the whole, the big goal of all of this, because you're not bouncing around between different areas. You build something that fits the view that you'd like to see. So a lot of what we talked about is centered around dashboarding, but it's important to look beyond that too. make the system work for us, not the other way around. So instead of sitting there with all your screens and watching and seeing what's going on, you can be doing your own job and getting an alert when something's out of spec. The machine didn't hit a certain run rate. The machine's down. The workers are not processing items correctly. And get these notifications that come up so that you get notified to go take care of something instead of sitting there and constantly monitoring it. As I mentioned earlier, taking the data based on maintenance, whether it's coming from the machine or just in terms of your preventative maintenance items, and taking that from the CMMS system and feeding it back to the ERP and saying, you can't produce on that machine for that time period because it's going to be down for maintenance. If you know ahead of time, you can address these items with your customers. Either adjust the dates, bring on extra staff, reallocate to another machine, so on and so forth. We can take rejection data from your ERP system and combine that with alarms and alerts and parameters and other items that were on the machine. We could sit there and say, well, here's my rejects. I saw all these started happening as soon as the operator changed this one setting. And not only do you have the evidence of that's why it happened, but you can also go back and see what the setting previously was. Again, by having all this data coming in, that's a big benefit. And OEE. Who in here knows what OEE is? Overall equipment effectiveness. Okay. So OEE is basically a percentage of the effectiveness of your equipment, right? It's self-explanatory. But it's broken down into 3 areas. So, how available is the machine in terms of how well is it up compared to down for maintenance? Performance is, how well are you maintaining schedule and operation of the machine? Are you producing as much as you should be? And, that could be based on the workers or it could be based on, product timing and whatnot. As well as quality, how many rejects compared to good products are coming out. And you break down all 3 percentages and multiply them together and you get the overall OEE value. And then you can use that value to just say, this machine's doing well or not so well. And what's nice about that is you can take it and look at trending over time to say, I'm starting to see that OEE value drop. I need to go start doing some digging to find out why. What's going on there. And looking future of some of the things that you can do in terms of the digital factory, we can tie together more than just the factory and the management staff and the factory and the workers. We can tie together the factory and the supply chain. So, your vendors that you're buying equipment from, whether it be glass or consumables for your machines or other items, we can take that data and supply it to your vendors so they know for their production statistics. What's great about this is whenever you call them to say, hey, I need something, they're not coming back and saying, oh, I don't have it. We have to run a batch of this, or, we have to ship it from another office. With them having this visibility of what's going on, they can have those products, preemptively ready for you. And similarly downstream. How nice would it be for you to know, for those of you who are dealing with window fabricators in the room, how nice would it be for you to know ahead of time what your window customers are going to order from you? How many IGs? And for those of you who are making mass flat glass, similarly, how much product they're going to need coming down the pipe. So the concept of the digital factory allows us to tie all those things together. So the question then becomes, well, how do you get started? Well, the first step is start a conversation with your machinery companies. Say, hey, what can my equipment do? What do I have now? What is it capable of? What would it take to get it to that level? If it's not currently capable of that, maybe they can just do a simple software upgrade. Maybe it's a control system upgrade. They a lot of times can go back and upgrade the machine to give it this additional capability if it doesn't already exist in there today. And then if you don't have the resources in-house, which again is not uncommon, start reaching out to different software companies. Say, hey, this is what we'd like to do. What are your capabilities? What are you guys offering? And then we can start to work out a digitization strategy going forward. questions?
AJ, what's the view from the major equipment manufacturers? Are they jumping on board, or are they a bit
It's about half and half.
half and half? Yeah.
So I have some machinery manufacturers that are really excited. They see the value of seeing the whole floor and bringing all that together. Even those that already have their own solutions, a lot of them do see the value in it. Actually, can you throw that back up there for me? Thanks. But we also have those who are a little bit more reluctant. So they either have developed their own solution or it's part of their own, and those are going to take a little more convincing. What I've seen work very well is seeing the demand from you guys, right? So if you're going in there and saying, "Hey, I want this capability on my machine," it usually changes the conversation very quick.
Once you have a manufacturing execution system set up and you're receiving data, and you can interpret it correctly, and you've identified areas that you can focus on. At the moment, generally what I'm seeing is you need someone like you who can interpret that data and then send information to machines or to your operators. Who do you see sitting on that dashboard and using that information and implementing it in the system?
I see people throughout the organization using it. Not necessarily everyone, but I see your management staff and your owners looking at that dashboard to say, how's my facility doing in terms of production, in terms of value. You could tie that with the ERP system and start to pull in things like actual dollar values and get all that information in one location. In terms of working down through it, you have your plant supervisors that are more concerned about the actual raw production and looking at how are we doing in terms of on-time deliveries, product times. Are we making the correct? Are we hitting the correct points in time where that product should be going through that work center, and how are we leveraging that? Get working down further. You have the line supervisors who are going to be more concerned about a particular machine or a particular group of machines. And again, they might be looking at the production data. They might sprinkle in some of the maintenance data in with that as well. And then, of course, we get to the maintenance personnel who are mainly concerned about maintenance data across the whole floor. So that the example screen I had up there that shows the production floor, you could leverage that as a maintenance screen to say, show me what machines are running versus down. And one of those turns red, your maintenance staff is going to go, boom, hey, I got to go take care of that over there, if they're not already doing it because they got an email or something from the system.
AJ, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So for those plants that are already established and probably an older plant, I don't know, 10 years or so, if they would like to upgrade to their system, how do they go about doing so?
Yeah, so it's an interesting point. I'll use Bystronic as an example because they're one of them. I know the actual times on the machines. So their IG lines, they're able to do with just a simple software upgrade on the machine from anything from 2017 and newer, which is fairly recent. Now their cutting tables, which as we all know, Bystronic hasn't made cutting tables in a while, they can go back all the way to, I think, 96. So the cutting tables are actually pretty old. And they can, again, just a software upgrade, they can integrate that onto it. So going forward, again, if you want to get some of your equipment integrated, talk with your machinery vendors. Talk with whether it's your sales reps or if you have a technical contact, they're usually a little bit better to have a discussion with. And they can let you know what your options are.
So it's fairly compatible.
Yeah.
Any additional questions for AJ?
Okay. If you guys think of anything else, my contact info is up on the screen. Feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to answer any questions for anybody.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi there. Did you like what you just saw? If you did, why don't you like the video, drop us a comment below, and share the video as well, since GPD is all about sharing. And to receive more videos in future, subscribe to this channel and don't forget to click the bell icon. Ciao!